Hello, everybody. It's me, Colton Johnson, with MT Popcorn Bucket Productions. I hope you enjoyed that intro. I thought it'd be a fun way to start the video, especially since my intros are typically more the same. I decided, let's do something a little different. I thought it'd be fun. So, I hope you enjoy it. Today, I will be talking about my thoughts and my review for Backrooms, directed by Kane Parson. Some context going in. I wasn't too familiar with what the Backrooms was. I'd never really had seen the YouTube series or had read any of the 4chan or Reddit chats on the subject. But leading up to the release of this film, or after seeing a trailer for this film and being intrigued, I decided to at least watch the original found footage YouTube video, and then eventually I watched about a 90-minute lore video, and then another 3.5-hour lore video that I can link in the description below, that definitely added to the context of what's going on in these movies. Kane Parson is brilliant in crafting this world, and the lore behind this world is so deep that obviously they couldn't can it all up and put it into the movie, but they do their best to have a semblance of what that is. So I do also want to state that I'm a big fan of horror. This month has actually been a really good month with Obsession. I honestly still, I need to rewatch that film and then eventually do a review, because that movie is incredible. But we're not talking about that movie today. We're talking about Backrooms. So I'm going to first talk about the story. And to me, I thought the story was all right. It was very simplistic. It served its purpose on what it was trying to do. That being said, it also intentionally feels very disorienting and mysterious, much like the nature of what the Backrooms is. There's not a lot of context going into what is going on, and there's certain things that it just kind of happens. Things play out and it just happens. The setup for the movie is pretty good. The vibes within the first 5 or so minutes was pretty crazy, and a good way to kind of just set the tone. But throughout, there were moments where it felt a little slow, and it was just kind of just going beat to beat with the story. I also don't think the characters' motivations were there. Performances were good. I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, overall, I think the story, in my opinion, was good, but nothing compared to the level of storytelling you can find within the Backroom series on YouTube. But it was still good. Now, I don't think it's perfect. I do think it was a little confusing, especially towards the last little bit. But it was good. Now, moving on, we're going to talk about the direction. Kane Parson is a masterful craft of a director. He crafted what we now know as the Backrooms on YouTube, and what's crazy is he crafted most of that through Blender on his computer, and just the level of horror that tells is just crazy. The story is actually pretty deep, because we really don't know what the Backrooms is. It's kind of like if you were to describe a dog to someone who's never seen a dog, and then you tell them to draw it, and it just doesn't turn out the same. That's kind of what the Backrooms is. So with the direction, it's probably one of the greatest elements of the movie, especially for him being 20 years old. I'm not a filmmaker, and I know that there's a lot of people giving him slack. Same with Curry Barker, which I don't understand. People can be artists. Steven Spielberg directed Jaws at 26. I'm 26, and I'm just an amateur YouTuber trying to get by not even getting paid to do YouTube. I just do it for fun. But Jaws, one of the greatest films of all time. Steven Spielberg, one of the greatest directors. So people can have talent at young ages. I just think people who are in more of a privileged position have issues with that, because that's gonna sway or change perspective of what audience wants. This movie definitely is geared towards that Gen Z kind of vibe. Like, I mean, it worked for me. A lot of the stuff that he put into this movie worked really well for me. But I feel like I can see where it can be swayed towards an older audience. But I'll get to that later into my video. But I thought the direction was great. I think he was wonderful. He definitely captured what the Backrooms was in a great way for the big screen. Now, moving on to characters. I feel like this is probably the lowest aspect of the movie. And, okay, performances, pretty good. I thought the performances were really good. I like the actors. The actress was okay. I think Kristen Milotti would have probably done a lot better, in my opinion. She's, after watching The Penguin, I think she's brilliant. But the direction of these characters, or just I don't know. The main character is kind of a douchebag. He's egotistical. And that, it shows. It really shows. And maybe I just read into it, and I read it exactly what it ended up being, because I just do that, and I am very critical. Not critical, but I just look through things. There's a lot of different mental health elements of this film, and the Backrooms is almost like a betrayal of that. It's like almost imprints of reality, but things aren't quite the way that they are. It's pretty crazy, but the characters could have given a lot more. The performance is great, but yeah, the characters were okay. I don't even remember their names, to be honest. I think like there's the therapist and then Captain Clark. I do have to say the monster dude towards the end, I thought that was pretty good, pretty crafty. We didn't get to see a lot of the entity. We did get to see still lives, which was pretty cool. Not as scary, more unsettling. But yeah. Moving on, we're going to go into technical crafts and filmmaking. I thought this was also one of the most stellar parts of this movie. I thought the set design was just breathtaking. They, like, in the series that Kane Parson put together, most of that was done through digital CGI, whereas this was live action set pieces, and it really takes you into the world. Like, I'd love to check out the set. I mean, I'd be pretty terrified and unsettled to do so, but I think it'd be very cool to go in there and kind of see that set put together. The sound design was pretty cool too. I don't really remember much of a soundtrack, but I thought the elements that they crafted through the film, and even just the lore Easter eggs here and there, that, like, for me who did like a deep dive into that, I was satisfied with the elements that they did put in that way. So, yeah, that was a brilliant part of the movie. Visual effects were good. And I just love analog horror. I think it's very unsettling, found footage, if it's done correctly. And I felt like it was done pretty well and very intentional in the way that it was done. Next up, we have Impact. I thought this movie was good, and it worked for me. I don't think it's going to work for everybody. I think that people are going to either have too much high hopes for this film. A lot of people are comparing it to Obsession, which totem pole two different things of the table. Yes, they're horror. One is more narrative horror, and then the other is very analog, unsettling, psychological thriller horror. Two different things, but both stand. I mean, one may be better than the other, but it worked for me. Where the impact lies for general audiences, I feel like the younger crowd are going to enjoy it a lot more, especially those who are more familiar with the world that's been created with Backrooms and understanding the lore and all that stuff, which most people shouldn't need that to enjoy a movie. But it does help, and it did help me with my opinion of this film. But I feel like more so for the older audiences or general audiences, I can see where they may have issues with that. Or if they just dive too deeply like I do and look at things like the plot or the characters and that might set them back. But that aside, I still think it was very worthwhile to watch. And I'm glad I checked it out in theaters. And once it hits streaming, I definitely will probably give it a watch again to kind of see those Easter eggs and all that. But overall, that's my opinions of this film. And I wouldn't mind if this continued. I think this was a good story, and it kind of ends very open-ended. I'm not really going to go into it because I don't like doing spoils unless it's necessary. But I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I'd give it about a 4 out of 5 or an 8 out of 10, depending on what you look at things. But let me know what your thoughts of this movie. Did it take you to this other world? Or were you just bored? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video. And check me out on TikTok, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Thank you so much for watching. Also, give some love to my Mandalorian video. No one's watching it. So if you're watching this one, go check that one out. I thought I had a lot of fun with that. So thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Bye.